death of a 20-year-old Nepalese student in India, Prakriti Lamsal, has triggered a political controversy in both India and Nepal. It has become the political story of the day, particularly not just about the death of Prakriti Lamsal, who was, of course, attending the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, but also of the university's treatment of Nepalese students who were asked to leave the university campus. Like I said, this has sparked a political controversy that some people are suggesting could also have an impact on how Nepal, a crucial strategic partner of India, sees India and its relationship with this country. Joining me now is Sanjeev Satgainya, a journalist and a former editor of the Kathmandu Post, to break down this controversy and how it's being received in Nepal, as well as any impact it could potentially have on the India-Nepal relationship. Mr. Satgainya, thank you so much for joining us here in India Today Global. Could you begin by breaking down this controversy and how Nepal is, and the people of Nepal are looking at the death of Prakriti Lamsal in India?
Sasan, thanks for having me. Actually, when the reports surfaced that a girl from Nepal had died by suicide in university campus and in one of her in her room, reactions were pretty sharp here. It was an unfortunate incident and then unprecedented in recent history. And Nepalese students have a history of going to India to study and work. So there was a sharp reaction from Nepalese, but simultaneously, what happened was the university made a series of mistakes. It denied to investigate. It declined to listen to the students, and that kind of escalated the situation. But thankfully, the Prime Minister from Nepal, Prime Minister Oli, intervened and then he responded, which led to some actions from both sides. So situations calmed down gradually, but reactions were really, really sharp in the beginning.
Right. Mr. Sanjay, could I also ask you, you said reactions are sharp. In fact, what we've seen is that politicians have gotten involved on both sides of the border. In fact, in Nepal, you've had the Rashtriya Swatantra Party as well as other political parties come out and raise the issue in parliament in Nepal. They've also called the incumbent government weak and criticizing the ambassador of Nepal in India for not being able to handle the situation correctly. Could you explain some of the political controversy that has come up about this issue in Nepal?
Yeah, actually, the issue was raised in Parliament actually yesterday only, and it is because of social media. A lot of people, actually, members of the public, actually started to raise the issue initially, and a lot of journalists took up the issue. And then Indians from across the board also, many Indian citizens also came up on Twitter and on social media platforms to talk about the situation. It was only yesterday Rashtriya Swatantra Party and day before yesterday also one of the members of the Rashtriya Swatantra Party tried to raise the issue, but there was a controversy that she was not allowed to speak. So not at the political level that really happened in terms of relations between the two countries, but the point is that a citizen from Nepal had died in a university on the university premises was taken very seriously in Nepal.
Could you also tell us a little bit about how this is impacting the relationship between India and Nepal? Do you think that there is any possibility of this having broader diplomatic consequences for India and Nepal? Though we do see that both governments have gotten involved very quickly, including the diplomatic representatives from both sides. Do you think that this could in any way impact how Indians and studying in India are seen in Nepal?
Actually, it was very good initiative on the part of both the countries. When Prime Minister tweeted and talked about like he had taken cognizance of the situation, and Nepali embassy in New Delhi immediately took up the matter and dispatched two officials there, and then Indian embassy in Kathmandu also was very active in issuing statements and saying that it was in touch with the university, and then it kept on updating regularly about the incident. So I would say both countries this time worked in tandem so as to prevent the situation from escalating. Otherwise, sentiments run really, really high when something like this happen in India or for any Indian student in Nepal or Indians in. So for that matter, I would say like both countries worked really, really well in this matter and in a coordinated matter, so as not to let the situation escalate further.
So you're saying that, of course, both countries have handled the situation reasonably well, which is, I'm sure, a relief for both sides, given how important the strategic relationship is. Could I also ask you a little bit about, the broader setting in which this is happening? Of course, we know that India-Nepal relations have not been the easiest over the last couple of years. There have been questions over territorial disputes. There is also, of course, the controversy over the recruitment of soldiers from Nepal to come into the Indian army. Of course, that was blocked by the Prime Minister of Nepal. So it's been not the easiest time in India-Nepal relations. Could you set some of the stage for that as well? How exactly is India being looked at these days in Nepal because of some of the territorial problems we've had? This problem over the recruitment of Gorkhas for the Indian army. How exactly is India being seen right now?
I would like to use this platform, Sasang. Thank you for asking this question. Nepal-India relations are like very broad, and they are rooted in different aspects. Like things keep on happening between the governments at the diplomatic level or at the political level. But Nepal-India relations are more based on people-to-people relationship, and when we need to understand this fact that we don't have to see this in the context of political only, and everything that happens at the political level does not necessarily impact the people to people relationship. There might be some concerns about the Nepali students going to India right now, but things will calm down. I understand. As you pointed out, there have been the relations may not have been in good terms between Nepal and India for the last 2 3 years or so, and because of territorial dispute and Nepalese recruitment in Indian army, these are the issues that are left for the political class to deal with. But when it comes to people relationship between India and Nepal, they are hardly affected by political issues like these. But in this case, what has happened is a girl has died, and the university failed to take necessary steps. That's why the sentiments were running high, and everywhere there are people like who try to like play in the muddy water. So that may happen, but I don't think like it is going to impact the overall Nepal India relationship. And whatever the relationship, wherever the relationship is today, between the governments, or between the governments and between the countries at the political level, that is a completely different issue altogether. But I don't think this is going to deteriorate the relationship further.
Understood. So, if I can ask you one final question, of course, India remains an important study destination for students from Nepal, but we've seen this with other countries in the neighborhood as well, like Bhutan. Increasingly, students from Nepal seem to also be looking at other countries around the world to go out and study. And of course, for example, Bhutan, like I said, is one of those examples of countries where people are heading off to Australia in large numbers, and that means that the educational connect that used to be so strong once between India and some of its neighboring countries has become looser in time. Do you see the same thing happening in Nepal, with most students opting to go to other countries as well? Of course, in addition to India, but also other countries. And do you think that this incident could possibly add to students looking abroad for other countries to study in and not India necessarily?
I don't think so. India has been a good study destination for many years. And then it's easier to go to India, and not many paperwork. And as you know, like you don't need visa, and you can just travel to India and get admitted there. So this has been going on for many decades. But recent trend is that students are opting for other countries as well. Like people are going to the US, Australia, or UK, and then China. Like 2023 data suggests that 1 million youth left the country, and last year only 500 NOCs, no objection certificates, were being issued. That means like around 100,000 students were going abroad. So this trend has been going on. That this is a new phenomenon, that like lots of students are going abroad other than India. But I don't think students will stop going to India. If India will continue to remain a good destination. That said, this also puts a spotlight on the fact that Nepal and Nepal's political class and Nepali policy makers also have to think about investing in education infrastructure and updating curriculum here, so that students can pursue their higher studies here as well.
Hmm.
So I don't think this one-off incident will make an impact, large impact in terms of students not going to India. So I would reiterate this, that this situation was prevented from escalating by both sides, both countries work together. So hopefully, I don't think this will have a larger impact in terms of relationship and in terms of students from Nepal going to India.
Understood. Mr. Sanjeev Satgainya, thank you so much for your time explaining to us what the mood on the ground is in Nepal, also stating that the two countries seem to have handled the issue with alacrity and with a great deal of professionalism and competence. Thank you so much again, Mr. Satgainya, for talking to us on this issue.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Sasan.